Good morning. Good morning. Give me a second to get everything live that needs, I have to hit buttons all over the place. So give me just a second. And it's a beautiful day. And as you get here, make sure that you say hello. Let me know that you're here. Beautiful. It looks like I am live there. All right, give me one more. And like I said, make sure you tell me that you're here so that I know. And give me just another second to bring this up. What is going on here? Obviously, I was looking at something on Facebook. Hold on. There we go. All right. Beautiful. Let me get this set up over here. All right. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday, I actually did get some flowers planted. My daughter and I worked on planting flowers, and it just felt glorious to get your hands in the dirt. And it was just very relaxing. And one of the funny things was, for those that have been following me for a little bit, know that I've been having a little bit of a hip issue, right? So I've been doing these hip exercises, and I've been participating in this workshop, which was off the charts, really a beautiful workshop. And but one of the things was yesterday when we were planting and we were doing stuff, I was bending over doing something, and then I noticed that she was my daughter, who's a lot younger than me, right, by 30 years at least. Um, she was squatting, and I thought, I used to squat all the time. Why do I bend over to do this stuff? So I had to remind myself many times to squat and get into that squatting position to do this work, and it was fine. It felt comfortable and everything. So I don't know why I was stressing my back by bending over. Not a clue, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the hip issue. I have no idea, but I didn't have a problem squatting. So just sharing a little bit of life as I'm waiting for people to show up. And I can't always see people if you're not on, unless you're in the group on Facebook. And so if I don't acknowledge the fact that you're there, then I'm not ignoring you. I promise. I just can't see you. And so you have to say hello. And at this point, I'm not sure the way Facebook's doing all their stuff, if because I'm streaming in LinkedIn today and YouTube, and I think those would still stream, or still the comments would show up here, but I don't know. So we're just playing the game of life and trying to have a good time while we're doing it, right? All right. So good morning. Good morning. Oh, oh, do the at everyone, Kimmy. I just saw that you popped up, and I just realized that I hadn't done it. And I know you are amazing about helping out with all those things. So if you would do that for me, I would appreciate it. And like I said, I'm streaming in different places. And so I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm so grateful to have you here. And anybody that's watching the replay, make sure you say hello too, put hashtag replay. And, if I ask a question and you want to answer the question, even though it's after the live, definitely do that. And I can go back in and look and see what you were asking about. And hopefully I can address that for you. So, with that said, I'm going to go. Oh, I saw your pictures that you shared of, was it I kept, all of a sudden it just went out of my head. I think it was the sky last night that you shared some pictures of, Kimmy. You are so good about taking these amazing pictures. So if you're not familiar with Kimmy, she does some great photography. And maybe share some in the group so that people that aren't on your friends list, they may not see that, but they can see it in the group, because they're very beautiful. She's very gifted and talented when it comes to those pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and get to hold on, I got to do some copy and paste stuff and get to the affirmation. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Kimmy. And yesterday we talked about what our superpowers were, and and what our name would be and everything. And the funny thing is, and I see Wendy just popped in here. Good morning, Wendy. But yesterday when we were doing all of that, I came up with a name. Let me see if I've got the thing here, because all of a sudden I can't. I had it because I was playing with a couple of different names, and I'm not sure if. Oh, there it is. Empowerment Enchantress. Ooh, that was what my my, my super name is. My superhero name is Empowerment Enchantress. And then one of my superpowers is mindset mastery, because I can help people transform their beliefs and their behaviors. And I guide women to step into their brilliance in life, love, and business. And so the funny thing was, I decided I was going to create that AI generated photo, right? And I didn't realize it was so intense. I mean, I had to train the thing. I had to download 10 pictures, put it in this thing, and then and then it said it could be 2 days before it was generated. I said, okay, well, as soon as it comes, I will share it with you guys. Let's see what it is here. I shared that affirmation with my good friend. She loved it. Love your name and your superpower. Oh, thank you, Kimmy. Tried to come up with logo. Impossible. Oh, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible, Wendy. You just got to give it a little more thought and a little more attention. Use AI. That's what I'm doing. It's because yesterday, what was it? It was Imagine Me AI was the one that I went to. And I will post it as soon as it arrives. I even looked a moment ago before we got on here to see if it was here yet. No AI. You don't want to use AI, or what are you saying? Or that you don't have any AI? I know some people are opposed to using all that, and that's okay. It just makes it easier because I'm not going to create that stuff. And I did say I might go on Canva and try, but I didn't. I figured that I thought it would be easier, but it was not. It took me a little time to go through my photos and find photos and put them in there. So we'll see. You don't have it. Okay. I didn't have that one either. I just signed up. And I think you get a free one, but I ended up paying like $10 to have like 4 or 5. I don't know. I don't know why I thought I would be using them. We'll see. But it was really easy to sign up. And then as long as you have some good pictures, it took me a while to go through all my pictures and think, oh, I don't know that I want to have that one in there to choose from. And I realized when I was doing that one of the things that I've helped people with over the years is having more of a positive body image, right? And when I was looking through those pictures, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I don't have as good a body image as I think I do, because it was like several of them. It was like, ooh, I don't know about that. So it was very eye-opening just going through the pictures to put it in there. So now I'm going to be really interested to see what it comes up with. I may not even like it. Who knows? And I have to share, if you see me scratching, I think I got, I'm trying not to, but I think I got a little bit of poison oak on me when I was doing my planting yesterday. And part of that comes from, I'll tell you, one of the silliest things I did. And so you'll know a little bit about me with this. There was some poison oak, right? Some poison ivy, because so it was going everywhere, right? And I thought, well, I know better than to pick it up, right? Because I'm very susceptible to it, but I couldn't just let it go. And I don't believe in, it's not that I don't believe, I choose not to use a lot of poisons and stuff. For one thing, I don't want to hurt the animals. I don't want to hurt me. And so I'm very, very strongly opinionated about using pesticides and using weed killers and things like that. So I have got some natural stuff I'm going to try to use. But anyway, back to the story. I had some gardening gloves, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to use 2 gardening gloves on my hand to make sure that I don't touch the stuff, right? That it doesn't come through. And so I'm pulling the stuff up. Well, lo and behold, as I'm pulling these vines, and they're coming loose, except for one, it wouldn't come loose. So I popped it. And when I did, it went right across my arm and right here. And that's exactly where I've got some poison oak. So I started last night putting some stuff on it to try to keep it at bay. But it was just like, I know I should have had on long sleeves and all that stuff, but I didn't take the time to do that. I just used 2 gloves and then I threw them in the trash. But that was part of my yard stuff yesterday. All right. So to the affirmation now, right? All right. So give me just a second. All right. So today's affirmation is, and this one was important for me this morning. I had 2 that I was toying with. Which one would be the most benefit to me and which one would be the most benefit to you? And so this is the one that I decided on. I honor my inner voice, trusting it to guide me towards my true path and purpose. I honor my inner voice. And, depending on who you are, that could be the universe, that could be your God voice, your intuition, but it's your inner voice because we have it talking to us all the time, remember? And, because I've talked about the way we talk to ourselves is so important, but that inner voice that's kind of guiding us and everything, it's getting in tune to it and listening to it in a way that you can trust it, that it's guiding you towards your true path and purpose. And, sometimes it comes to what are the questions that we're asking ourselves? We have to, it's important to ask powerful questions, to ask questions about how can this work, not why does it not work? So it's phrasing our questions that we're asking about something in a more powerful way so that it's almost like, if you give somebody a fill in the blank, then sometimes they'll take a lot of time and they'll fill it out or they do nothing. But you give them a yes or a no, they're more likely to give you a yes or no, right? And so when you're asking the questions about what you're about to do or how you're feeling or what's going on in your world, sit and ponder on it a little bit on how can you phrase this question to get the best answer, to get the best direction, because you don't want, like if you ask a question of why does this always happen to me, then the answer is going to be because you're this, because you do this, right? But maybe in this context, it would be better to say, how can I learn to keep, what do I need to learn to keep this from happening? How can I conduct myself so that this doesn't happen anymore? What is the lesson that I needed to learn from this and moving forward, not repeat this? So it's changing how you're looking at it. You're looking at having, can you repeat that again? Oh, hell, I don't know what I just said. I don't know which thing you're referring to, Kimmy. And I probably couldn't repeat it because I don't know. So what are you speaking about? Maybe I can. What was I talking about when you sent that? Because I don't know, because I just now noticed it. Oh, the affirmation? Oh, the affirmation is, I honor my inner voice, trusting it to guide me towards my true path and purpose. And so then I was talking about asking ourselves powerful questions so that when we're asking God, the universe, our inner knowing, that it has the ability to answer us in a more powerful way so that things come to you. So like the example I gave, and I maybe that may be all you wanted. I don't know, Kimmy. But the example I gave was if you said, why has this always happened to me? And I know I've done that too. I really have. And all I get is a litany of reasons why everything like that happens. And so remember, what we focus on is what we create, what we draw into our lives, right? So the thing is to create in your mind, or in your, even if you say it out loud, a more powerful way of looking at it. And so in that context, it would be, how can I make my life better? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to talk to? How can I make this my life so much more fluid and happy and joyful? And so it's, what lesson can I learn from this thing that happened? And how can I make it not happen again? So it's asking the questions differently. And then that actually helps the God voice, the universe, your intuition, to know what direction you're wanting to go so that it can direct you there, right? Because so many different ideas can come from those types of questions. And so remembering that if you honor that inner voice and trusting that it's going to guide you towards your true path and your purpose, or maybe it's just guiding you to a better life, maybe that is your true path and purpose. But sometimes we get hung up on those words like it's our divine thing. Well, maybe it's just having an amazing life. And so begin asking questions that help that to come, right? All right, so now let's get to, do you have any questions, or did I answer that, Kimmy? Did I answer that for you? And I want to ask, how do you feel right now? Everybody that's here, and I wish I could see the who's on the other platforms, but I cannot. But like I said, if you're watching the replay and you weren't able to be here live, answer these questions too, because it will definitely help. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Kimmy. So I want to ask you, so have you been listening to your inner voice? Have you been asking powerful questions, or is this something that this is going to help you to do more? Just put a 1 if it's going to help you, 2 if it's like, I don't know. And I know this has nothing to do with this. Well, kind of it does. I really like to have intuition guide me. And I had an amazing, beautiful, beautiful Kimmy. I'm glad it's helping. I had an amazing guest on my podcast yesterday, so I'm hoping to get his episode out over the weekend. The thing was that he was someone that I went to his mastermind many, many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it was. And beautiful, Wendy. I love that. So are you already asking the more powerful questions? So anyway, I had him on my podcast, Will Lane, and when I was at the mastermind with him, I was introduced to a lot of things that I was not familiar with at the time. This was a very, very long time ago, and I was just really, I'm very intuitive, beautiful, beautiful. I was in a place in my life where I was just really starting this journey of learning and growing, and the positivity, and the universe and God are here for me, and all the energy and all that stuff. Right. I was just really starting in that. I wasn't a health coach or anything like that at that point. And so this mastermind was an in-person mastermind, and we met at this private club that he was a member of. And it was the most exquisitely elegant place I had ever been in. And, you had these sweet rooms that you would go to, and everything was wooden paneling. And, it was exquisite. And I don't even know how much it cost to be part of this club. But it was fantastic. And I even shared with him last night that when I went to the first meeting of this mastermind, and I walked into this place, and I thought, holy crap. And there was a person there that you would tell them what room you needed, and they would tell you where to go. And it's like I looked around and I thought, wow, this is how the other people live. I had no idea anything like that existed. And there it was. And it was probably, I think I drove about 35, 40 minutes to get to this thing. And it was downtown Atlanta. And or not really downtown, but in the city of Atlanta at least. And it was like such an eye-opening experience. So I told him that I was so grateful that he actually expanded my horizons so amazingly well, because like I said, I didn't know things like that existed until I went to this mastermind. And I was just beginning to discover this kind of stuff, because our mastermind was about based on the book Think and Grow Rich. And so it was a new thing for me. And at that point, I had not read the whole book before. I had it, but I had not read it. But so we went through the whole book. And each week we met together and we discussed the book and the chapter that we were reading. And, we would have this roundtable discussion. It was amazing. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because when the mastermind meeting would be over, we would have a conversation. There'd be like several of us that would hang out for a little bit. And then after the mastermind was finished, I kept in contact with him and one other person. And over the years, I lost connection with him. And when I was thinking the other day about having somebody on my podcast, and all of a sudden his name popped in my head. And I'm getting to this to tell you intuition and how the law of attraction works and listening to that voice, right? And so I thought, he probably doesn't even have the same phone number. I bet this is not even his email. But what does it hurt? And I thought, he's on my mind. So I'm going to send him an email. And then I sent him a text. And he responded back pretty quickly on the text and said, hey, he said, interestingly enough, he said, you were on my mind just a couple of days ago. And I was wondering what you were up to. And I said, oh, beautiful. So I invited him to be on my podcast. And like I said, we had some really deep conversations so many times. And he introduced me to different people in the field of law of attraction and creating your vibration and stuff. He introduced me to a bunch of people. And so we got on the recording last night on the podcast, and it was like we just jumped right back into, we were having some deep conversations about stuff. It was amazing. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And and he shared a little bit about what he's doing now. But the thing that I'm getting to is that my intuition, when I was thinking about my podcast, that's when all of a sudden his name popped in my head, right? And it had been years. Oh my God, it's been at least 10 years since I had any contact with him, maybe even longer. And so it was interesting that I went ahead and took that leap. He may not even remember me. I mean, it's been a long time. Did I even affect him enough for him to remember me, right? Because we don't know. And so when I sent the message, I said, this is Vicky from the mastermind. I don't know if you remember me, but right. And he did. He remembered me and he had been thinking about me. So it was like our vibration, our energetic stuff was coming together, right? And one of the things he said he was always impressed and admired our conversations that we had, because sometimes they would get so deep and we would have, sometimes we didn't agree on something, but we didn't argue. We just kind of, let the conversation flow. And it was like, wow, he made a great impact on me by having that mastermind and by introducing me to that club, that city club, and then introducing me to other people in the law of attraction stuff. And so he was ingrained in me because he made a big impact. And I didn't know that I made any impact on him at all. And I did. And so it's like when we can trust our inner voice to guide us and to actually take action. That's the thing, is not only do we have to listen to that inner voice, but we have to take action. And one of the things that's funny that I'm saying this now, because that wasn't blah, 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 blah. That wasn't really what my intent was today. I must be going to have some company because my nose is itching. But I was part of a program, not, gosh, it's been months and months ago. And there was a woman that had written a book, and I bought her book. And so while I was sitting here before we got on here, there's a bookshelf. I've got that bookshelf back there, but I've got another bookshelf right here beside me that is so full of books that not only are the books lined up and down like they are back there, that one looks much tidier than this one. That's why you get to see that one and not this one. But there's books stacked on top of the books. And, because I've got so many books, and I've got a bookshelf downstairs that has a bunch of them too. So every now and then I'm going down there to look and see. But anyway, there was this cover that every time I looked over there, it just kept drawing my attention, and I would be looking for something else and it would draw my attention, and I was not paying attention to it. Right. But right before we got on here, that book got my attention again. And I thought, okay, I get it. What book is this? And I pulled it out, and it was this book by Jennifer Grace that I had been in this program that she had, and it's called Directing Your Destiny: How to Become the Writer, Producer, and Director of Your Dreams. I didn't even remember that I had that book. And what have we been talking about? Being the writer of your story, and being the creator of your game. And so what? So I'm getting it out, and I'm going to read it again. And I know I read it, but it's been such a long time ago. And who knows if I finished it, because I'm notorious for starting a book, and then I'll have several different books going at the same time. And I will read this one a little bit, and this one a little bit, and this one a little bit. Like there's 2 other books sitting here that I'm reading on. When Breath Becomes Air, that was recommended by someone on my podcast a few weeks ago. And then the book with Stacy, with the Dating with a Full Deck, I've got those there. And then I just pulled this one out. So it's like the universe is talking to me. God is talking to me that this is something I need to be paying more attention to. That's what I'm getting at, right? So I'm honoring my God voice, my inner voice, my intuition to guide me toward the right book, to the right affirmation and journal prompt, to the right guest to have for you guys. And so I just feel like life is so beautiful if we give it the chance, right? Because there's so many times we get so caught up in the day-to-day things that may not be where we want them to be. And I do that too. I'm not perfect by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, I promise you. And so I'm not saying that I know everything, and I'm not. I'm just saying that when the intuition grabs me and leads me, that, like I said, that book has been catching my attention for about a week. But I didn't pick it up. But it kept, every time I would look at these, and it was the one that, this was all you could see, was this right here. And so it wasn't like it was the color of it. It wasn't any of that. There was something about that book that was pulling me, or God was pushing me to it, right? And I just kept saying, okay, I'll look in a minute. And then I would go on about my business. But this morning, as I was creating the affirmation and the journal prompt, and I looked over there, it almost felt like it was outlined in a light, so it was like, beep, 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 look at me, look at me, look at me. So I did this morning. And that, to me, that's powerful, right? So, what's going on in your life that's trying to get your attention? What is your intuition, God's voice, the universe trying to make you pay attention to, that maybe you're like me, and that was sitting right there, and I wasn't touching it. I wasn't pulling it out. So there may be something right now that's going on that you've been kind of gets your attention, but you haven't touched it. So think about that. Is there something, either one of you, because I think right now you guys are the only ones here, or even if you're watching the replay, is there something that's been trying to get your attention and you haven't been doing it, right? So, so for you, and I don't know who all is still here. Let's see. Let me look here. All right. So, is there anything that's been trying to get your attention and you haven't been acting on it? That's what I want to know. And this morning, just so you know, I've already had a cup of coffee, but right now I've got a cup of Earl Grey tea with lavender. Mm. So let's see. Anybody got some words of wisdom there? I'm going to go ahead and share the journal prompt. There's such a delay sometimes. I can't tell if it's just that you haven't answered or it just hasn't popped up. All right. So today's journal prompt. What messages has your inner voice been sharing with you lately? Okay. My tea is very soothing. I love it. So Kimmy, mine is looking at my family tree. Okay. Then it's time. It's time, right? So if you're feeling inclined to do it, there's a reason. And sometimes it could be just that it's getting in touch with your tree and not necessarily that you're supposed to reach out to anybody. So it could have a lot of things. Maybe it is just that it's telling you, listen to me. And by doing that, it's going to open up some other idea of something you want to do. So it may have nothing to do with the tree. I have no idea. Only way we'll find out is when you do that, when you start looking up your family tree. Yeah. All right. So what messages has your inner voice been sharing with you lately? And how can you create space in your daily routine to listen more deeply? And, I talk a lot about the taking some time in silence and just sitting and listening to the sounds around you. And when you do that, and if you do it repeatedly, like if you did that every day, even if you only set a timer for 15 minutes, it's like over time, that time is going to be so precious, and it's going to help you actually tune in to the guide voice, the intuition, the universe, to be able to hear, because most of the time, all of that stuff is coming at us. We're just not able to hear it. And sometimes it's not that we're not listening, it's that we're listening too hard. We're making it too hard. We're not just being open. And you really have to spend some time in openness, being open to the opportunities, to the God voice that will be guiding you. You have to be open to the guidance. And then the main thing to remember is that once you get that little hint of what is getting your attention, what is needing to be looked at, what is needing to be explored, you have to take action. And who knows, if I had paid attention to that book a week ago when it first started getting my attention, I might have been already finished with the book and have some great epiphany to share with you today. But I don't. Well, I do have, but it didn't come from that book. But there's really, when you look at it, all of these books are telling us the same thing. They're just telling it in a different way because the author has a different voice. And so I love reading all different types of books about this same thing, the law of attraction, the vibration, the joy of life, all of these things, because it's, like I say a lot of times that I can read a book over and over again, and every time I read it, and that's one of these types of books, not necessarily a novel, but it might be that way too. But I don't read as many novels as I used to. the thing is that every time I read it, there's something new in there. It's like the night before somebody came in and put new words in, right? But that's not the truth. The truth is when I was reading it the first time or the second time, the third time, whatever, that my vibration, my idea of what was available in my mind and in my spirit and my soul, some of those things were not in my focus, right? And so I kind of skirted over that part, or it just didn't land. I just didn't notice it. It was just words. But then as you grow and you read that book again, you're a different person already. And so it's going to land totally different. And that's why I keep my books, because I love to reread them. And sometimes I really love going and getting the audio version and listening to it. And if you're a Spotify, a paid Spotify member, oh my gosh, there are so many free audiobooks on Spotify. And someone recommended a book to me the other day, and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's not even available on audiobook yet, but it's about to be. So I've actually got it in my queue for my waiting list, because she was talking about it and she said, you'll love this book. And so I said, okay. I wrote the name down, immediately went to Spotify. It wasn't there yet, and I put it on my waiting list. And I just got notification that it's about to be out on audiobook. But the thing is that, we can read things and we can hear things. And sometimes just somebody's voice reading it to us can really make a difference in what we connect with. And so it's good to have the written word and the audio book. And Alex Hormozy, I think it is, says to do it at the same time, to be listening to the audiobook and reading the book at the same time. And then it gets the different parts of the brain at once. But sometimes when I'm listening to audiobooks, it's because I don't physically want to be sitting and doing something. I want to have it in my mind while I'm doing something else. Like I listened to some of my book when I was out doing the gardening yesterday. Part of the time I just listened to nature, but part of the time I listened to a book. And then I listen to a book or a YouTube, something like that, when I'm getting ready in the morning. So I'm doing things and I'm listening. But because when I sit down to read, I sit down and I read. And so it's finding what works for you. But like I said, if you are a paid Spotify member, take advantage of these audiobooks, because I didn't know that they even had that. But my daughter turned me onto it. She said, did you even notice that this is a new thing? And I said, no. So then it was like, woo, I felt like I was a kid in a candy store looking for the different books. And what do I want to listen to now? Right. And it just opens up so much that it's amazing. And so it's opening yourself up to listening to that inner voice. And being here today is beautiful, or even watching the replay, because there's something here for you. There's something, something that you need to hear. And I'm just the conduit. I'm just getting on here and talking about something that is important to me. And then before I get on, I go through this process of, this is important to me. Will it be important for other people? Because I don't want to just do this for me. I'm doing this for us, for you, for me, right? And so I sit and listen, to God's voice. Is this the message that someone else needs today? And as I said, that's what I did before I got on here. And I had these 2 different affirmations and journal prompts. I was trying to decide which one. And so I put it up and I said, okay, of these 2, which one is the most important to share today? Who is it going to help today? And this is the answer I got. So it's beautiful to take the time to do that. And you remember we talked the other day about the water experiment, right? And it's so funny that we had that talk the other day, and every day something's showing up on my feed about the water experiment, right? And so since we talked about it, I wanted to ask you, because I think you both were here for that. But if you're watching the replay and you weren't, go back. And I don't even remember what day it was. It was a couple of days ago when I did the morning affirmation and journal prompt. However, the thing that's important is to think about what we're saying to ourselves, right? But today, I challenge you, I ask you, every time you get a glass of water, or you pour a glass of water, right? Maybe you've got a bottle of water, whatever you've got. I want you to take just a moment to just get in touch with this water and bless it. Give it a word that is going to be very life-giving. So whether that means love, friendship, joy, happiness, give it a word. Because remember the water experiment, the Emoto water experiment, they put water in the little dishes, and they gave it they put a name or a word or a phrase that either made the water beautiful or it made it not so beautiful, right? And so you can actually affect the charge, the life-giving part of this water, by you can bless it, like you do a blessing on your food, which affects your food as well. But give it a word today. Every time you have water, before you take a sip, give it a word so that it has a different charge. And let's just see, if you're doing this all day, how you feel later. Yes, yes. I love if you haven't ever looked up the Emoto water experiment, definitely look it up, because it's wonderful. And I have a book somewhere that I don't know where, it could be the one of the ones downstairs, but it actually has the pictures of those original crystals, the water that they froze, and they show the pictures of the crystals and stuff. It's a gorgeous book. And then there is some stuff about him on YouTube. You can Google his name and just find all kinds of things. But so for today, we've got our affirmation and our journal prompt. But on top of that, should change everything. Yes. On top of that, today, really dive into this today. Blessing your water, giving it a word. And you don't have to give it a word. Like if you were to, beautiful, yes. If you pour a glass of water, right, and you give it this phrase, let's say the word you're giving it is love, right? So you don't have to do it every time you drink that one bottle of water, but you could bless it every single time. Say, thank you, God, for this beautiful water, for this loving water, whatever you want to do. Just play with it today. Remember, it's the game of life, and how to play it. Well, this is part of our game. Let's just enjoy our water today with purpose and drive to make changes, right? And so we shall see. But I know I've done some of this kind of stuff before, and I even have. I make time to, well, before I eat, I bless that food, and that's what. When people say the blessing, that's really what the blessing is for. It's honoring God, but it's blessing that food that's right in front of you, because it changes the molecular structure of things and how it works in your body when you bless it. Whether you believe that or not, I don't know how religious you are, but whether you believe it or not, on a spiritual plane, there's actually been some experiments done with science as well. So it does affect it, even though most of the time that's not talked about. But there is a science that backs that up. But whether it is or not, I believe that we can affect so much by having gratitude, and by blessing our food, our water that we're going to drink, our interactions with people, right? Yes, yes, thank you, Kimmy. I do believe it too. I do. And so I feel like every time I get in front of you guys, you are blessing me with your presence, and I hope that I'm blessing you with information, and if nothing else, the fact that we're taking the time to chat about things in the morning. And I love doing this, and having you here, and and just the people, there's people that may be listening in other areas, because I've got it streaming out, and like I said, I have no clue if there's anybody there or not. The thing is that if you would like to be part of the Make Lasting Change group, which the name is changing, it's going to be within the next few days. Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you. But the Make Lasting Change group is amazing. And we're going to have on this evening, right? This evening, yes. This evening at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have an amazing, amazing guest. Is it 6? Yes, it is 6. And Laura Westman is going to be here, and she and I are doing a program together. We've got a masterclass coming up on the 31st, and she's going to be talking to you about her expertise, which is improv. And it is helping us to get out of our own way, because that's the thing, is most of the time we're holding ourselves back from life, from just being us, right? Being our authentic self. That was one of the things that Will talked about last night when I had him on my podcast, that one of the things that he said that he loved about me was that I was authentic. And I said, okay, I like it. I'll take it. And the thing is that you may not see all my broken down moments. And I don't know that you want to, but if you want to, I can start sharing that crap as well. Because we all have them, right? The mornings that you get up and it's like, I told you about my hip, right? So there's mornings right now that I'm getting up and I'm thinking, oh, what did I do? My hip hurts. How did I do this to myself? And then I remember that's not the right question. The right question is, how can I make it better? Right? See how when I got up, I had the question that was like, oh, woe's me. But then I could stop it really quick and say, ooh, how can I make it better? And when I started asking that question, that's when that workshop came up, the 4-day workshop with the hip health. And so our stuff really actually affects everything. So be there tonight at 6:00 and just explore the stuff that she's going to talk about. So I'm so excited about that. And I'm saying this to you guys that are watching in other places, because if you would like to be there tonight, because this is only in the Make Lasting Change group, then you have to be a member. So you can go to VickyPoole.com, VICKIEPOOLE.com, and you'll be prompted with some questions to answer. And you have to answer the questions to be admitted, because right now I've got 3 people sitting in the queue wanting to get in, but they haven't answered all the questions. And so I've messaged them. I'll be messaged again today to give them the opportunity. And if they don't answer the questions, then they're going to be deleted from the queue. And so it's really important to answer the questions, because this is my baby. This community is amazing. And I only want to have people in here who are like-minded, that want to create this lasting change, and they will participate and expand themselves and everybody else in the process, right? So like I said, if you want to be here tonight, it's at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then I put a poll in the group as well, because I've got a communications expert that I had on my podcast the other day, and she works with couples a lot, and then she works with individuals. And one of the things when she and I were talking, I said years ago, after I got divorced, I said, if I met someone that I really thought it was going to go somewhere, I would go do this communication stuff before we got really, really serious, before we got engaged, before we got married, before we moved in together, whatever the case may be. Because what really messes up relationships, whether it's with a romantic partner, your children, your friends, your family, what's the thing that messes stuff up the most? Communication. It is miscommunications. It's not listening. It's not hearing each other, right? And so far, the funny thing is, to me, I put several different things for people to pick from. And the one that most of the people are picking right now, the one that's in the lead, is that I'm not in a relationship right now, but I want to learn to communicate before. Isn't that golden? And so I applaud each one of you for answering the poll, and because this is going to give her so much more insight in what she wants to share. And I haven't got her scheduled yet, so we're going to be talking to figure out. It will be in June. Just don't know when, but I will definitely let you know, and I will create an event for that one too, because that's going to be something that we all need no matter what's going on in our lives, right? And communication, beautiful. So I'm so excited that I met her, and it's like the universe is just drawing people to me and my podcast that are beautiful additions to add their expertise into the group. And so, like I said, if you want to be part of the group, you have to go to vickypoole.com, VICKIEPOOLE.com, and then make sure you answer the questions. And then if anybody wants to invite a friend into the group, and I know, Wendy, you've already done that. Thank you so much. And so it lets me know how much somebody means to you when you want to have them in the group with you as well. And I know, Kimmy, you've done some inviting. And so it's amazing to be able to get even more people into the group, because the more the merrier, right? So if either one of you have someone on the top of your mind as I'm talking about the things that are going on that you think would really be a good fit for the group, then I would ask you to not just use the invite button, because that just automatically puts them in, and then their information is not put on the spreadsheet so that I can see what's important to them, because I use that spreadsheet where everybody's answered the questions to actually come up with some of the content that I do on our Mondays, and some of the stuff that I share during the week, because it's important to me to be able to know why you're wanting to be part of the group. What is it about it that you're looking to find? And then I can get that out for you, right? And so that's really important. So make sure you give them, you can just give them the vickypoole.com information, and then just make sure you tell them, send it in a message and say, this is an important group to me. I think you would enjoy it. Here's the link. Make sure you answer the entry questions. So make sure you tell them, because I think sometimes people think, well, that's not really important. I just want to be part of the group. And that way, we can make sure. And I know I'm rambling on about this, but I just want to make sure that you're aware that it's important to make sure it's somebody that means something to you, that you feel like it would be. It's almost like, I like to say that we're, you've heard it before, that we're in the backyard around the campfire and we're singing Kumbaya. But you could also think, would this be someone you would want to sit in the living room and just have a chat with, right? And that's what I feel like my podcast is, where we're just sitting and we're having a conversation, and that's what we're doing here. And I love having conversations with you guys and having more people here to have conversations with. So anybody that you feel would be good, make sure you send them to the link and have them be part of it. All right. So I'm trying to remember, was there something else that I wanted to say? I can't think of anything right now. That seems kind of weird, right? Let me have a sip of my tea just in case. So who's excited about the improv stuff tonight, and then the communications expert? I hope you guys are. And if you're watching the replay, you can let me know too. If you're excited, put excited. That because there's the more we show up for these people that are pouring into the group, the more amazing people that are going to be pouring into the group, right? And so I've got a few people that I've got scheduled on my podcast. And as I'm scheduling people now, I'm thinking, ooh, that person might be a good fit. Let me get on the podcast with them and see what they have to offer. And then I can ask them if they want to share into the group. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for that. I'm excited too, because it's like, you know how things are. It's the vibrations going out, and it's like it's growing legs, it's expanding, and the amount of people that are wanting to share into the group is getting bigger. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I'm super excited to share this journey with you guys. And you can let me know if you want to start seeing the messier stuff. I can share some messier stuff with you guys. It's just sometimes I don't think sometimes people don't really want to see all that. They want to see you when you're chatting, just having a conversation. They may not want to see all the other stuff, and and that's good too. I feel more comfortable sharing this stuff than I do sharing the messy stuff, but this is your group, baby, and what you want, you get. And so you just have to let me know. All right, so we are almost at an hour. Wow. And thank you guys for staying and being here. This has been fun. And I like I said, I've got that AI creating my character, and we will see what comes up for. What did I say it was? Why the heck does it go out of my mind? It's Enchantress, Empowerment Enchantress, my superhero, Empowerment Enchantress. So I'm excited, and as soon as it shows up in my little queue, I will share it, even if it's not feeling like it's right. I'll still share it because I kind of have this vision in my head, but who knows what it'll come up with, because I've never done that before. I mean, I use AI for helping me get the things written for my podcast and that kind of stuff, or maybe it might help me with an email on occasion, but I don't use it that much, and I've never done the visual AI stuff, so it'll be fun. All right, so you ladies have an amazing, beautifully brilliant day. Honoring your inner voice. Let me get back to the affirmation. Honoring your inner voice, trusting it to guide you towards your true path and purpose. Make sure to put that on your sticky note, your index card, your screensaver on your phone, the mirror with a chalk marker, wherever you need to put it. And then the journal prompt, make sure you're actually writing it down and somewhere. And then whether it's a journal or you have just a notebook for this, then write it out, put the date, put the affirmation and the journal prompt together. It just, for me, that works amazingly well. So what message has your inner voice been sharing with you lately, and how can you create space in your daily routine to listen more deeply? And that's going to be really fun to dive into. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Oh, wait a minute. Yes. I think it's still 9 a.m. If I look at my schedule and then it looks like it's going to be different, I will definitely share that with you. But right now, it's going to be 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. But please be here tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be live in the group. So all you have to do is show up to the group. And I hope you've already put that you want to know every time I go live. And if that's the case, then if you haven't, then do that. And that way it will notify you the moment I go live. And she and I will be there live together tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. All right. Have an amazing day. Mwah.